kids, and she lives about a mile and a half away, which is kind of convenient. Annette knows, right? You guys used to be, what, Nate, what do you do? Would Kirk live in the basement? Holy crap. It was crazy. And you know what? You personally taught me that that I could get along with my ex, because I mean that's what you guys have been doing for years, right? And you allow your ex to be, I mean, beyond a part of your kids' lives, and I understand how important that is now more than ever, because you know young boys need their mother, you know, but young men need their father, you know, and alcohol had taken my ability to be present. Like, so I was physically there in that, but I wasn't there emotionally. No way. If anything, alcohol was keeping me, you know, like the Heisman, like to my son, like just keeping him arms length away, because I knew that someday I was going to off myself, or, you know, I would die from, I don't know, liver failure or something. And I didn't want him to get too close to me. And that, doesn't that sound crazy?
No, but
that's how it's how I used to feel. And then, so here we go. Fast forward. I get sober. I start doing the steps. I start my whole attitude, not looking upon life, starts to change. Things are going okay at work. I did do a quick a 28-day stint in rehab at Fort Belvoir Army Community Hospital. I had 50 days sober at the time, and I was losing my stuff. I was losing my mind, because new sobriety to me. Now look at it this way. I've been drinking for 30 years, and then I stopped. Like it, and then just imagine trying to stop a freight train, right? Like just stop it immediately. Well, all the cars start hitting you from behind. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, you did this, and hey, so your past, it catches up with you. It really does, you know. And I'm not saying this to your audience to make anyone afraid, but I'm just telling you how it was for me, and I'm telling you the truth. Early sobriety sucks. Okay. And that's why I'm still sober today, because I don't want to have to go through it again. I've watched people relapse with 20 years, 30 years, 35 years. There's a friend of mine. She's a woman. She was sponsoring like 20 something women. She had 33 years sober, and she went back out. And I will say this, they were so hurt, they stopped like talking to her for a while. You know, they were showing her a little bit of tough love, and she's like, Jay, for the 8 months that I drank again, she goes, every time I would put a glass to my lips, I would cry. You know, there's nothing worse than having a belly full of booze and a head full of recovery. I mean, I heard it ruins your drinking, and you know, I don't need to find out, because, like I said, you know, it's like if people tell you, you know, hey, you touch that stove, you're gonna burn your hand. I see people wrapped in bandages all day long, you know, so I'm gonna take their word for it. You know, that it sucks, you know. I mean, there's always that one person, like in a billion, like you'll see, like, you know, they'll be in the rooms for a while, and then you'll see them like down in Florida, you know, and they've got this great tan and this great business that they started, and this hot girlfriend, all that stuff. And that's cool. And that's cool, because once in a while, you know, it's just a person, he just wasn't truly, you know, an alcoholic.
Right.
But then fast forward to 20 years and look at him then, and he's holding up a homeless veteran sign, you know, outside of, you know, M&T Stadium. It's just, hey, what happened, man? Yo, I never should have left the program. Yo, man, I never should have stopped calling my sponsor. I never should have stopped going to meetings. And the most important part, I never should have stopped helping others. And this comes to the 12 step, which is about service. And my wife and I had separated about a year after I had quit drinking. And the crazy thing is, you know, we were married, but I was the guy that drank to tolerate his blessings. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, when I first heard that, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because that was me. Like I said, I had the house, the car, the girl, the kids, all the job. I had everything anybody could possibly want. And I had to drink just to tolerate it. Like I couldn't stand it. Like it was doesn't make any sense, but if it does to you, then you need to call me after the meeting after this is over. I was fortunate enough to meet someone at church, not on Tinder, not on whatever whatever, plenty of fish, really. Hey, how'd you and mom meet? Oh, plenty of fish, really. Come on, man. We met at church. I was actually, and now Annette's gonna laugh at this, but I was teaching Sunday school. Yeah, see, can't help it. Like J mate. Yeah, I know. The Catholic priest when I used to be an altar boy in Massachusetts. I was still laughing to this day. Jay taught Sunday school. What do you teach them? You know, how to mix a good stiff drink. But no, we met at church. We kind of were going through the same thing, except there was no alcohol involved on her side, and she had heard me do what's called a witness at church, so she kind of knew, what my deal was and all that stuff. And we started dating. We became friends, and now we're our second wedding anniversary will be in a couple of months. But we've been together almost, it'll be 4 years next week.
That's amazing.
So and my ex is in a different program, and she's sponsoring other people. It's truly amazing the transformation for both of us. So I came up with this idea. My sponsor took me to this recovery place called Pathways in Annapolis, and it's a drug and alcohol rehab center. It's one of the largest in the state of Maryland. And what we do is a bunch of the guys from our home group, guys and girls, we go in and we just basically, we talk to these patients and we tell them kind of our stories and stuff so they can relate to, hey, when you get out, this is kind of what you should, we make suggestions for them.
Yeah.
I saw from very early on that people need to go right from rehab to sober living. And I'm talking like from we call it from bed to bed.
Okay.
And a lot of people who don't get that chance to often relapse like right away or within the first couple of days because they don't have those resources. So I was able to start a nonprofit. It's a 501c3. It's called LifeHouse Recovery of Maryland. And it's on Facebook if you guys want to take a peek and say hello and see what it's all about. My wife and I do bowl ringing and sound healing, and that's the money that we get from there goes into our nonprofit. We take private donations. The people who own our marina were gracious enough to give us like $500 last week. It's been tough with COVID because it's tough to go and ask a business that hasn't been in business for 5 months for money. So but a lot of that comes from our personal coffers. We've last year put a couple people through like rehab from start to finish. We probably doled out about $15,000 in we call them housing scholarships. So saying that wanted to go to say you were in rehab, right? And you wanted to go to there's a huge place called Serenity Sisters, and my friend Angel Trainer owns that. And so what I'll do is I'll sponsor this female, and I will coordinate with Angel or Angel's intake coordinator, so the check goes right to the actual recovery place. I learned the hard way early on: never give an alcoholic or an addict money, especially. Yeah, it's like, oh, hey man, I need $300. So around here, it's about $150 a week to rent a room at a sober living house, right?
Okay.
So, which is, $600 a month. It's about, I have 600 to 700 around this area is about right per month. But it's usually a shared room, 2 or 3, sometimes 4 guys at once. It can be pretty chaotic. And I ended up buying one of these houses, and but my house is a little different because each person gets their own room. And a friend of mine told me, if you're in this to make profit, you might as well get out now. because people will be like, hey man, I just lost my job and here's $100, for right now to hold me over, and I'll get you the rest next week. And it's just something that you have to live with. Ducks quack, dogs bark, and alcoholics drink. It's what they do. Nothing surprises me anymore. I guess the only thing that would surprise me is if I found a bottle in my hand.
Yeah.
Because statistically, only a small percentage of people who come in to the program actually stay sober the entire time. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. What I'm saying is you kind of like, it's like a full-time job, right? If you go into work and you stop showing up and then you expect to get paid, like, hey, how come I didn't get a paycheck? And your boss is like, well, you only came in Tuesday. Right? So we're going to have to let you go. And that's kind of how the program works. You have to do this thing every day. Some days are more intense than others. I was on a meeting at 6 a.m. I went to the live meeting at about 6:45, and then I got to share with another group at 9:30 to 10:30, and now here I am on with you. So this whole morning has been nothing but like recovery related, and that's really cool. It's a great feeling. Not a lot of people can keep up this kind of pace, but right now I'm not working, because of COVID and all that stuff. But so I use this time to to really push the envelope. Last week, Annette, I was on a meeting in Dublin, Ireland. So here's another cool thing about the pandemic that I'm actually grateful for, is that my Irish ancestors are from County Cork in Ireland. So I looked up on Google XYZ online meetings in County Cork, Ireland, and sure enough, it popped up, and I got the Zoom password. I emailed this guy who I've never met in my entire life. I told them a little bit about my story and about, hey, I've been sober coming up on 5 years, and they asked me to chair their meeting, so there I was last week. I was in Dublin, Ireland. Of course I was on Zoom, but they're like, thanks Jay for coming. We'd love to have you. And da la 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 la. And it was hilarious, And they're like, you talk really funny, sitting there eating a bowl of Lucky Charms, just to keep it real, wearing my horseshoe clod necklace, and and then a couple weeks before that, so I was in Dublin 1 week, I was in Cork County, and then a couple of us once a month from my home group get up at 3:45 in the morning on Fridays, and we attend a Melbourne, Australia meeting. They're 14 hours ahead of us. So at 4 a.m. at 6 p.m. in Melbourne, and there's about 70 people on there, and they invited us to share, our experience of what we're going through with COVID and the pandemic and how it's affecting people's sobriety. And what's crazy in that no matter where you go in the world, we're all the same. We're all the same with the same. And I mean us alcoholics. We all have suffered some type of or several types of tragedy. And I honestly think a lot of this stems, and this is my own belief, this isn't any, textbook or any stuff like that. So if any of your listeners call me up and say, hey man, you said this, I'll be like, dude, I can't be responsible for anything I say. Asking that, I've had how many head injuries? So many I can't count. I've had 6 TBIs, right? So just the fact I can actually brush my teeth without putting my toothbrush through the cheek of my mouth is teeth to eat, right? It's truly amazing. And that's another thing. Just the hits keep coming, right? I've gotten a lot of my mental clarity and my focus back. Of course, don't tell my wife that, because she'll want me to do laundry and want me to fold and stuff, right? she'll want me to remember things like our anniversary and
One thing at a time, Jay.
Well, yeah, it's right. It's right. And we get back to that one day at a time. And that's kind of our logo is slogo there's a bunch of them, but one day at a time is truly it, because, and that's the hardest part, is you come into